Hello everybody, welcome back to another podcast. So last weekend we have the release of two movies, The Kid Who Would Be King and a movie called Serenity. Let's see how my predictions went. Alright, let's jump right into the box office. Coming in number one is Glass, the M. Night Shyamalan sequel to Unbreakable and Split. In its second weekend, the movie pulled in about 18.9 million, a drop off of 53% from the previous weekend, and domestic gross is 73 million, and worldwide right now is 162 million, with 89 million of that from overseas. So all in all, Glass is a success for M. Night Shyamalan. The budget is only 20 million, and he's able to wring out 162 million worldwide so far, so which is a pretty good return. Although reviews are not good for this movie, 36% on Rotten Tomatoes and a B cinema score. Audience seem to like it. They propelled this movie to have a 40 million opening, but the drop off is kind of big for this movie, but 53% is kind of normal for a huge opener like this. It's not unexpected that huge opening movies drop off in the upper 50% range. Only in the rare cases where the drop off are like sub 50s. Alright, moving along to number two is The Upside. It is the dramedy starring Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston, and Nicole Kidman's in here as well, about a quadriplegic who hires a recent parolee to bus him around. This movie pulled in about 11.9 million in after 3 weeks, a 20% drop off from the previous week. Domestic gross is 62 million, and worldwide take is 68 million, with 6 million of that from overseas. It hasn't opened that wide overseas yet, I might add, but typically these type of movies don't do that well overseas, and the budget for this movie is 37 million, so it's doing okay. Alright, number three is Aquaman. In the sixth weekend, it pulled in 7.3 million, a 29% drop off from the previous week, and the domestic gross is 316 million, and let's see where the figure is at worldwide. Worldwide it is at 1 billion or 1.1 billion, 775 million that from overseas, so it's huge overseas, nearly 300 million from China. Alright, moving on to number four is The Kid Who Would Be King, one of the new releases last weekend. It opened to 7.2 million. Quite a bit disappointing, because I said the movie could probably open to 20 million, because it is a family movie. It is directed by Joe Cornish, who did Attack the Block, a cult hit, but it doesn't star anyone famous outside of Patrick Stewart. It stars Tom Taylor as a modern day King Arthur, Rebecca Ferguson as Morgana, the evil witch. So yeah, just a modern day take on the Arthurian tale, I guess, or Arthurian legend, King Arthur tale. And I said the movie could run into trouble at the box office, because it's a British movie, and those movies tend to not do well, but I kind of misjudge how not well it would do, right? I mean, I said the movie could probably open to 20 million, but it only did 7 million. So this movie was pretty much ignored by the family audience in theaters. But review-wise, it's actually decent, 86% on Tomato Meter, but a B+ cinema score. So critics generally liked it, but theater goers thought it was kind of like an average movie. B+ is kind of average, so a bit disappointing for The Kid Who Would Be King. Moving along to number five is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's kind of stay steady at the fifth spot from last weekend. Pulled in 6.1 million, a 19% drop off from the previous week, so it's holding on steady right there. Domestic gross is 169 million. And worldwide it is at 338 million, and the budget is only 90 million. And I said again, this is a pretty good outing for Sony and the Spider-Man brand. Alright, number six is a surprise. It's Green Book. It's riding a high on its Oscar nominations, Oscar noms, award seasons in play, right? And Green Book is definitely getting the nods here and there to crawl up to the sixth spot. It put in about 5.5 million in its 11th weekend. It's getting the Oscar bump right now. Domestic gross is 49 million on a budget of 23 million, and worldwide it is at 59 million, with 10 million of that from overseas. Okay, number 7 is A Dog's Way Home. It pulled in 5.1 million in its third weekend. Drop off is about 29%. Domestic gross is about 31 million, and the budget is 19 million. So all in all, A Dog's Way Home is not as successful as A Dog's Purpose, another movie that's based on the based on a book by the same author. And number 8 is one of the new releases last weekend, Serenity. It is a thriller starring Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway, as well as Jason Clarke and Diane Lane. McConaughey stars as a sailboat captain who takes tourists out to fish. And Hathaway plays his ex-wife who came asking him to kill her current husband. The movie opened to 4.4 million, way off from my 10 million projection. I said the movie could probably open to 10 million based on the name alone, right? But it fell way short of that to only open to about 4.4 million. Reviews-wise, the movie's not good, 21% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a D+ cinema score, so that's quite low reviews right there. Alright, number 9 is Escape Room, the thriller horror movie from Sony. It pulled in 4.1 million in its fourth weekend, a 27% drop off from the previous week, and domestic gross is about 48 million, but that's alright. The budget was only 9 million, so another low budget horror movies that's getting great returns at the box office. And worldwide, this movie pulled in 76 million, with 28 million of that from overseas. Alright, rounding out the top 10 is Mary Poppins Returns. It pulled in 3.3 million in its sixth weekend, a drop off of 36% from the previous week. Domestic gross is 165 million, and let's see, worldwide it is at 319 million, with 153 million from overseas. The budget is 130 million, so it's doing okay. So it is another successful remake / reboot of an old classic. Okay, so that's it for the top 10. Let's move on to the long wide release this weekend, Miss Bala, a remake of the 2011 or 2012 movie of the same name. Catherine Hardwicke is directing this movie. She directed the first Twilight movie, as well as Lords of Dogtown, well-regarded indie movie, starring Gina Rodriguez. Anthony Mackie is in here as well. So Rodriguez plays an aspiring beauty queen who got trapped, I guess, into criminal activities by the local drug lord, and she's forced into trafficking drugs and money for this criminal group. So the original movie as well regarded. It was actually submitted by Mexico for the best foreign film, but it was not on the short list for it. It has a 70 and it has an 87% on the tomato meter, the original movie, so it's well reviewed, but I don't think it was released that wide here at the time. So here we are with the release, English language remake with Gina Rodriguez in the lead role. But sadly, I think this movie will probably share the same fate as the original movie, that is pretty much being ignored at the box office. Yeah, there's no reviews on Rotten Tomatoes right now. Doesn't look like there are any advanced reviews out for this movie, so that can't be a good sign. So how well will this movie do? And as I said earlier, I think this movie is probably going to be ignored by the general audience, since the original kind of failed to make a blip here. And even though this one has Gina Rodriguez in here, she is not that huge of a draw, nor is Anthony Mackie, who played Falcon in the Marvel superhero movies. So I think this movie will probably open to somewhere around 3 to 5 million this weekend. So that's it for this podcast. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.